Welcome to Bookmas Day 3. I have a lot in store for this month. I'm posting the first 12 days of December, and today is going to be my November wrap-up. This is probably the earliest I've done a wrap-up almost all year, but that's okay. We're not focused on the past, we're focused on the present. This will probably also be the shortest wrap-up I've done this year because I only read 3 books. 3 books in the month of November. I was a busy girl. I had 2 jobs, full-time at school, the holidays, exams coming up. I had several exams in the month of November, so I had quite a lot going on. Football season, preparing for study abroad, which is a whole almost job in and of itself, but it's okay. We're here now. Hopefully I'll get this video edited and up in time, but I'm here to talk to you about the 3 books I read in November. This was supposed to be a much longer video. However, it ended up being potentially quite short because of the 3 books I read this month. But maybe that means I will talk more in depth about each book rather than kind of keeping it short and sweet. So we're going to get into the books. We're going to go in order of what I read. The first book I read was Caught Up by Liz Tomford. This is the 3rd book in the Windy City series, and the first 2 books in the series I really enjoyed. I gave them, I think, respectively 4 and 5 stars. Caught Up was a different story. I gave this book a 1.5. This is a lot of people's favorite book. I have an excuse. I think it's because of the audiobook and the audiobook narrator. It didn't work for the character type for me. This follows a single dad who's on a baseball team, and he ends up needing a nanny for the season for his son. The owner and coach of the baseball team, his daughter is back in town for a cooking gig, or lack thereof almost. She's a professional pastry chef, and she's in town for one reason or another and ends up being volunteered to be the nanny for Kai, the baseball player's kid. He's supposed to be a soft, gentle, not gentle parenting like gentle parenting, but he's a gentle parent. He's a gentle giant, very calm, mature, relaxed, very even-tempered. However, the narrator for this book, let me reenact it for you. This before any piece of dialogue and after any piece of dialogue in the entire book. And then he would go on to say the piece of dialogue. It was like, it started to make my eye was twitching because of how often he did the douche laugh. When this character was like, if it works with the character, that's fine, but this did not work with the character. He was not a douche, so he shouldn't have had a douche laugh to go along with the voice. The voice didn't match what the character was being described as, and that made me quite frustrated. It made it so that I couldn't focus on the content or the characters or any of the plot really, because I was just focused on how much this male main character did the douche laugh, and his voice for the character again didn't really match. They're supposed to be from Chicago, and he was not doing a Chicago accent. He also narrates Emily Rath's Pucking series, which works so much better for him because he really does have that hockey boy accent. So him with those make so much sense. Him with this did not make sense at all. I was very confused. Also, he was supposed to be from Texas, so the hockey boy northern accent and him supposedly having a country accent, which was mentioned, what didn't match up either. So I think I was quite frustrated with the audiobook, which is fine, but I just really could not get past it. It really drew down my experience with this book in this series, in which otherwise I think I would have liked it better. So unfortunately, that is how it played out. I honestly feel like, thank you, airplane. I honestly feel like maybe in general I'm phasing out of sports romances for the moment. I don't think it's a forever thing, but I think right now I'm in more of a fantasy literary fiction kind of era for myself and less of a sports hockey romance, baseball romance, that type of situation. So that might be just a new thing, but for this book it didn't really work for me, and I ended up giving it a 1.5. I should have probably DNF'd it and then tried to read it physically, but I just could not be bothered. I was having such a busy month. I was just on in the background, and unfortunately I didn't have a good experience with this one. However, if you're thinking about going into the Windy City series, 100% recommend, especially the first 2 books. I'll probably even love this one. It just wasn't for me in this time with this audiobook, with this narrator. I think the narrator was really key for me here. Next, I went on to read something very different, as you can see, which is The Night Prince by Lauren Paul Freeman. This is the 2nd book in a what's going to be trilogy, but right now it's a duology. I don't really know what it's called actually, the series. Let me see if I can find it. I can't, it's not in the book. But I don't know what the series is called. Essentially, the series is following our FMC, who is a princess of a kingdom that ends up eventually being essentially kidnapped out of her bed by wolfmen, werewolves. We go from there. It's kind of very Wattpad-y. It takes a little bit from Scottish not, I don't want to say folklore, but the narrator is Scottish, they wear kilts, they live in like the north where it's very snowy and cold in the mountains, so I'm feeling like it's really supposed to be set in Scotland, which is, you know, fine. Just wanted to mention. I ended up rating this a 4.5. The first book I think I rated a 3. What an improvement from the first book. I have a few points here. 1, love triangle, immaculate. If you think you don't like love triangle, read this book, please. The love triangle is done so right to where I don't even know who is the right, not right, I have a preference. I don't know where it's going. I don't know if my preference is the right choice in terms of where the love triangle is going to end up, which is kind of really stressing me out, but it's fine. It's fine. I'll keep going. I'll keep reading, and hopefully the third book goes in my favor because I have a right answer for myself, and if the right answer is not the right answer for everyone and the author, I'm gonna be quite pissed off. I really need the next book now. The yearning in this book was unmatched. The first book was good. The second book really drove home the plot, the characters, the yearning, the love triangle, everything, every single aspect that was done okay or good in the first book was amped up to, I don't even know, like 10 times better than the first book. I love werewolf adjacent books, werewolves, anything to do with wolf men, love it. Anytime in literature you give me a wolf man, yes, please. I cannot wait for the third book. The wheel was not reinvented here. This very much like a lot of other books that you could read out on the market or on Kindle Unlimited, but the thing is, it's okay if a book doesn't do something totally and completely new because it can still be good. This is a prime example. This did nothing new. Everything I had seen before. However, they did it in such a way that I was captivated, I was laughing, I was giggling, I'm invested in the love triangle, I'm invested in the plot. So it didn't matter that it didn't do anything new. I cared still, which is the main aspect I'm looking for in a romantasy, because I know I'm not going to get some new thing. There's always going to be a shadow daddy. There's always going to be the dark, brooding male main character that we all want to fight for it. But it's about how it's executed to where I then care for it, which I think was done immaculately in this second book. Now we move on to the third and final book that I read in the month of November. I feel like November flew by, and I feel like I read this book for most of it. What a book! I gave it a 4-star. Julie Soto is becoming quickly one of my new favorite authors, which was totally unexpected for me. I read one of her romances earlier this year and gave it a 5 stars. So good. I'm so pissed I missed the book signing for this book that was in Raleigh, in like 15 minutes away from me. I missed it because I wasn't aware, but this, oh my gosh, did I get a signed copy still though? No, I didn't, because they had some left in the store. I just was like, I already own one. But anyways, this is a Dramini fanfic reimagined. I will say, also mixed with a little bit of Beauty and the Beast, might I add. Kind of took me off guard, but then again, yes, this makes sense. New obsession unlocked. Tovin Hurst, ladies and gentlemen, Tovin Hurst. Wow. I love Draco Malfoy, and I also love Tovin Hurst. I do want to separate this book from Hermione fanfic because I think it stood very well on its own. It took its roots from that dynamic and kind of that reimagining that's common after Voldemort wins the war, but completely took a new twist to it, and I really see the Beauty and the Beast coming through with that too a lot because of the way that Julie Soto executed this plot and kind of turned it away from the typical Hermione fanfic, which I really enjoyed. For some reason, I went into this book with like no expectations, and I don't know why I did that because I should have gone in with very high expectations, expecting to love it. I went in with no expectations and I loved it, and I'm kind of glad I went in with no expectations. I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about this. I saw a lot of people haul it, but I didn't see a lot of people talk about or review it. I think if this is one of the books that I had binged instead of reading this over a 2-week period, this could have been a 5-star, and it started out as a 5-star feeling, but then because it took me so long to read it, I read best when I read quickly, and binge a book, it's my best reading experience. So because I didn't have that, I think it kind of felt a little bit flat in the pacing because I was off pacing, so I felt the book was off pacing. But I think again, that was a me thing. I think November was a very off month for me, so all these ratings might have been higher in other circumstances, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's okay. One thing I really loved about this book is I felt like the magic system was quite unique. You had a heart and mind magic, so the source of your magic either came from your heart or from your mind, and I haven't really seen that before as a magic system. I'm sure it's been done, but I haven't read it, so I really enjoyed how that was portrayed and how each system of magic was different in its strengths and different in its weaknesses, but they both had strengths and weaknesses. There wasn't like a better of the two, in my opinion. This is quite clearly going to be a series, and I can't wait for the next book. I can't wait to see what else Julie Soto comes out with. I know she's releasing like a YA thriller in January, which I have pre-ordered. I can't wait to see what else she comes out with, and I'm very excited to read the next book in the series whenever we have it. Maybe I'll go to the book signing for that one and get this one signed as well, because that would be amazing. Those are all the books I read in November. I have to go to work now because I'm still in the midst of 2 jobs and being a student, so thank you so much for watching. Tune in to Bookmas tomorrow to find out the 15 books I'm going to read in 2025, at least my top 15, and check out the Etsy down in the description if you're looking for a gift, holiday gift for a reader, or just for yourself. Like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill, and I hope to see you in another video tomorrow, day 4.